Everybody, it's Kyle Daniels with Vista Sotheby's International Realty bringing the Hill Report for Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. It's election day. We've got a lot going on in here in PV Estates. Probably the most controversial, election we've seen with, in favor signs and against signs, and we'll see where it all comes out. And to be honest with you, we still live in a beautiful place, and I try not to put too much stake into any one candidate determining where my future is going to go. But it does matter. Get out there and vote. With that said, there's my public service announcement. Let's talk about the numbers in the past week. Now, we had a huge change in the number of sales. When I say huge, these are all the weekly stats I like to keep. We went from 13 closed sales last week to just one sale this past week. What does that mean? Has the sky fallen? Real estate totally caving? No. What it tells us is we've seen a major slowdown for sure, but it's not as much as what you're going to think. It's not everybody's lost faith in buying real estate. It's actually, there's not a lot to choose from. I'm going to skip ahead and look at our inventory, but PV Estates, there's 20 homes on the market. This is where we were at the beginning of the year, and prices were heading through the roof. We're still way up to start the year, but things have come down, and a lot of it's just the quality of inventory that's out there. Some of these things have been sitting on the market for nearly the entire year. Others need, more money. You need to come in and buy it and fix the house up. So they're kind of lingering around on the market, and we're just not seeing that same buyer that was motivated to just jump in because, there's some caution in the market. Let's not hide that fact, but we really are low in terms of inventory. RPV, we have 59 homes on the market. Rolling Hills only 6, and Rolling Hills Estates 18. A lot of those are townhomes. And so with 104 active listings in the entire peninsula, it's down from 10 down 10 from the previous week. There's just, it's a quiet time. And I can't blame you buyers and sellers because it was a crazy time, if we roll the clock back into the spring of this year. So I think what I'd like to call this is the market's taking somewhat of a breather, taking a pause. It's time for a little rest and reflection. And my sense is I think we're going to see things pick up again beginning of the year. Now, will there be some price adjustments from the peaks we saw? Yes, I think that's inevitable given that interest rates have nearly doubled. They have doubled in most cases for most buyers. Now, how are we seeing that translate? Well, we saw that one sale happened to only close 2.25 million, sold for $50,000 less than the asking price. It was on the market for about 2 months. Not anything crazy, not a huge price reduction there. As far as new listings, we did see 11 come on this past week. They're averaging about 1.7 million. And then we had 9 properties go into escrow after being on the market for a month to a month and a half. And those are all around 1.7 as well. So, we're seeing that homes are still going into escrow. People are still looking out there. I think there's a little more value shopping going on than what we were seeing, where it was just kind of like, hey, if it's a house, we'll jump on it. But, for instance, Valmonte, there are 0 homes on the market. We had one go into escrow last week. It was reportedly almost 400,000 over asking, all cash, and going to close in 10 days. So there's still a lot of strong cash buyers out there. Doesn't mean you don't have a chance if you're not an all cash buyer, but there's people believing in this market, and I think that's a smart thing to do. As far as price drops, we saw 8 drops, and that's coming after about a month and a half on the market. We saw one house fall out of escrow, and we didn't see any other listings cancel in the past week. Now, we did see some go on hold and things, so that's what brought us down about 10 listings. But when we step back and say, okay, what's really going on here? Again, I think it's more of a pause. I do think there's some challenges to overpriced properties. I think it's very important that you price your property correctly in this market, we've seen. But we're also seeing sellers, mine included, that decided, hey, if I'm not going to get my number, I believe that, in real estate in the long term, I'm okay renting. So we're seeing some sellers decide to rent. But somebody put it this way, people are still going to fall in love. And when people fall in love, they do things like get married, move in together, and have babies. And as long as that remains part of our society, I think we will always have an interest in finding a place to live, which translates into real estate. So again, there's another side to look at it. There's death, divorce, and job transfer. I like to stick with the positive right now, but the reality is people will still do things. I think right now a lot of people are just taking the time, figure things out, and we'll see some more movement in this market come the beginning of this coming year, 2023. All right, that's it. Don't forget to vote, and we will see you later this week with the full South Bay market update, catching up for some lost time last week. All right, thanks.